Hey, did you hear the one about the tripod that felt sick and went to the doctor? Hey doc, I'm so tired, 2 of my legs don't even work. And the doctor says, you must have monopod.
Combining expert content on outdoor adventures with videography tips and tutorials. Visual Adventures with Kurt Papke.
If you're into outdoor videography, a portable tripod and a smartphone clamp should be your first purchase after you buy your iPhone case. I primarily shoot videos when backpacking, so lightweight and small size are really important to me. I use a lightweight, compact tripod and phone clamp for a number of different filming situations. The first one is group photos at the start or end of a hike. You want everyone in the photo, and it can be tough to find an innocent bystander to take the picture for you. The second use case is selfies, either a still or a video. A lot of videographers talk into the camera while walking, cycling, or doing some other sport. A selfie stick or handheld tripod will help capture more context because the camera is further away and keeps the camera steadier. The third situation is a video that you film while moving, kind of a poor man's gimbal or a Steadicam. Shots from other than chest level are especially interesting to do either near the ground or from up above your head. The fourth situation is action videos taken with a stationary camera. You're hiking by, running, cycling, swimming, jumping, whatever your sport is. And if taken from a bit of a distance, you can include some scenery with it. The fifth situation is time-lapse videos, which I like to film at sunrise, sunset, moonrise, or some other event that makes the passing of time more interesting. Last but not least, and probably the most uncommon situation, is stop-motion animation, which I use in some of my videos. You need to keep your camera dead steady while you take dozens or hundreds of still images. You'll definitely need a remote shutter release to minimize your movement and camera shake. For all these uses, it can be helpful to have a remote shutter release. I've used one, the timer on my iPhone, like for group shots. But the problem with it is sometimes 10 seconds is just not enough. The second thing I've used are my earbuds. They can be great for a short distance, like stop motion photography, but they're not very good for group selfies. The third one I've used is a Bluetooth shutter release. This one I acquired fairly recently, but it's pretty darn handy because you can start and stop your video recording from a distance and not end up with all that junk at the beginning and end of your video as you're walking to and from the camera and turning the camera on and off. The fourth method is, in theory, you can trigger your shutter using your voice, but I've never really trusted this. And last but not least is using an app like the FilMic Pro remote on another device, an iPad or a second phone or something like that to trigger your shutter. And that's pretty darn helpful, especially if you're trying to see what's in the scene. So I've got 5 tripods and 3 camera clamps that I've used in differing situations. Some of them for almost 10 years, but my original metal tripod is over 30 years old. Some of this gear just lasts forever. I mean, a tripod is not going to wear out very easily. But let's have a look at some of this gear and why you might consider each of them. My very first tripod is this Velbon that I bought for use with my first 35mm Nikon camera decades ago. I still use it occasionally when shooting intros, and actually I'm using it for shooting this video right now in my front porch. But I never carry it out into the field. It's just too heavy, weighing in at about 7 pounds. My first tripod, monopod, was a StickPic. That's this little guy. These little gizmos turn your trekking poles into a selfie stick. So what they do is they just go right on the end here, and then your phone clamp screws onto here, and there you go. You've got a built-in selfie stick or Steadicam or something to photograph down by the ground, all that kind of good stuff. So these StickPics are great. I bought this maybe 10 years ago and I still use it today, but you should be forewarned that they're not a one-size-fits-all. So I bought mine to fit my Lecky trekking poles, but on my black diamond poles, no go. Okay, it's not going to work. So just be forewarned that that these have to match up with your trekking poles. The great thing about the StickPic is that it weighs next to nothing, and it'll fit in a pocket, and you can get at it very easily. The downside is it's not a true tripod, so you're limited to the shots that you can get with it. My next purchase was an UltraPod, which you can still buy on Amazon today, almost a decade later. It's super lightweight and compact, but the price you pay is that it can tip pretty easily. You can see it's not very wide, so that if you have a heavier camera or an iPad or something like that, it can tip over if you're not careful. It can also be difficult to get behind it to see your screen so you can actually get your camera level. Speaking of which, let's take a quick time out to see how to get a level shot. It's easy to fix a tilted camera when taking a photo, but it can be a pain with a video. And there's nothing that says amateur louder than an outdoor video looking slanted with everybody looking like they're ready to tip over. And trust me, I've shot my share of those. So what you want to do is you want to use your measure or level app to get your camera perfectly straight after you frame the shot, so you don't mess up your framing. Okay, back to the UltraPod. The other nice thing I like about this is this Velcro strap. I use it to attach to a trekking pole, so you can actually use this like the StickPic and turn your trekking pole into a selfie stick. And this actually, I didn't attach it very well right here, but this actually works pretty darn well. It's very sturdy. Or you can attach this to a branch of a tree or something like that. I've even used it to attach the camera to the crossbars on a canoe and gotten some really nice steady shots with this thing strapped onto the canoe itself. I bought one of these Manfrotto Pixi tripods a year or so ago, and these guys are really stable. The ball joint on this works the best of any tripod that I have, which makes leveling the camera just a snap because it's got all the different degrees of motion here. The weight of the unit is kind of a mixed blessing. It's a little bit on the heavy side, and it makes it a little heavy to carry, but the inertia and the way the legs fold up nicely here creates a great handle which allows you to get gimbal-like walking shots. My most recent addition is the Kamisafe tripod, which is the only one I didn't pay for. So full disclosure, these I bought with my own money. This one the manufacturer sent me. It's in the same family as the GorillaPods, where the legs flex and bend to your heart's content. And once again, similar to the UltraPod, you can use this flex to attach this to a tree or something like that. This would be a great starter kit because it comes complete with a phone clamp, a GoPro adapter, and this Bluetooth shutter release. So for under 20 bucks, you have a complete setup to go into the backcountry. It's also the only one that allows the camera to be tilted down to 90 degrees to take portrait or vertical shots. The other ones are pretty limited to how far you can tilt this, but this one can tilt all the way down, and the base is stable enough that you don't have to worry about it tipping over. So a tripod for your smartphone won't do any good without a good phone clamp. The first one I bought years ago is this Joby GripTight, which is a bit of a misnomer because its biggest weakness is the phone can fall out of this clamp pretty darn easy. It's not really held in very well. It's lightweight, and I like the fact that it's extremely light and folds up into practically nothing. So if you're one of these ultralight backpackers, this is the one you should consider, the Joby GripTight. My favorite now is this Manfrotto Pro. It's just an ounce more than the Joby, but it holds my expensive iPhone 11 securely and has 2 screw threads for both horizontal and vertical shots. So I can screw this into my tripod for a horizontal or landscape shot, or I can screw it in this way for a vertical or portrait shot. It also has a hot shot mount on the top, but that's really not something I currently use. But if you have a small boom microphone or shotgun microphone or something like that that you shoot with, it's nice that you can attach that to the top. Last but not least is the nice clamp that came with the Kamisafe. It's super lightweight. It holds my phone in really nice and tightly. There's no issues with the phone falling out of here. It only mounts with the phone horizontal, but because this tripod tilts to 90 degrees, you can still film in portrait mode. So that's really no big deal that the clamp itself doesn't tilt. So here's my 4 preferred configurations. The first one is for the super ultralight crowd that really is the gram weenies, if you will, that really counts grams. So you go with the StickPic and the Joby clamp. I mean, nothing is lighter weight or smaller than this. Just don't drop your iPhone into a river or something like that, which I did a number of years ago. It survived, but I dropped it actually into a waterfall. For a lightweight configuration, I like to carry the UltraPod and the Manfrotto clamp. This one weighs just a little bit more, but it really gives me lots of different options here. I still really like my UltraPod for its versatility and lightweight, and I really like this clamp. This clamp is super sturdy and does a great job of holding my phone without ever letting go. So I never have to worry about my phone coming out of here. So that's my lightweight configuration. If I'm filming at home or I need a Steadicam, this Manfrotto Pixi is my go-to together with the Manfrotto clamp. This one is really nice and steady, doesn't want to tip over, very easy to level, and really works extremely well as a Steadicam in place of a gimbal. My iPhone 11 Pro gets steady enough shots that I don't typically bother with a gimbal. If I'm doing a day hike where weight isn't as critical, or I'm doing stop motion animation, then this Kamisafe kit is my preferred configuration. I like the fact that it's a little bit larger, gets you up higher off the ground, extremely stable. You can work these legs to your heart's content, and it's extremely reasonable. So frankly, if you're just getting started and wanted a complete system for cheap, this is a great option. That's it. I hope you found this video useful and hope to see some of your tripod mounted videos in action. If you found this video useful, please click like down below or subscribe to my channel. I also love getting comments from my viewers, so please leave a comment, positive or negative, about what you thought about this video down below. Take care.